Jay.
How is everybody?
Great. How are you doing today? Well, I don't know why it looks like I'm looking at the sky. I'm looking at you. That's kind of weird. Must be our camera here.
And then go ahead and okay, and record. Okay, and then record your part.
I don't know if you pulled it down.
Right, don't let this person in. Yep. Yeah. And then close it. Drop down. This one. No, the little arrow. Right one. Yep. Close it out.
Should do the cameras there now. Yeah, we should do it too.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey, time to go. Oh, can I go?
What are you Richard?
All right. Good morning. I would like to call the County of Chautauqua Industrial Development Agency Board of Directors meeting to order. It is being held at the BWB building at 201 West 3rd Street, Jamestown, New York. We're at the second floor boardroom. All the important people are here. Then we have other people that are at the Fredonia Technology at 214 Central Avenue, Dunkirk, New York, second floor conference room. We also have our executive director calling in the phone, and we are electronically via live stream on YouTube and Zoom. It is July 26, 2022. It's shortly after 10 a.m. We do have quorum. Roll call, please. Mike Metzger is here. Stephen Thorpe. Here. Kevin Muldowney. Here. Rhonda Johnson.
Here.
Gary Henry.
Here.
Brad Walters.
Here.
Let the record show that there are 6 members present. We have quorum. I will entertain the motion to approve the June 28th, 2022 minutes. I have a motion by Gary. Do I have a second? I have a second by Rhonda. Thank you. You've received these previously. Thank you, Jeanette. Any changes, corrections, questions, comments? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. We are fortunate enough as always to have our county executive, PJ Wendell, here. I'd like to ask you if you'd like to make a comment at this time.
No, I'd just like to thank everybody for all the work that you've been doing. The light-in, we were able to secure that and get that, moving forward. One of the points, and I don't know how we can do it for clarity, I was fielding a question at Camp Days at Tim Hortons. Somebody was rather irate. But a lot of the concern, because the IDA has been involved in pilots with industry, the assumption is out there that any new business that comes in, the IDA has an involvement with. So the woman was concerned that, the IDA and the county need to step in for the assessment at Kmart. I reached out to Mark and they said they predominantly don't involve themselves in the retail end of it. But at some point, if we can get clarity for that publicly, because that is a confusing part to some people. I don't mind fielding the questions and I relay that to them, but more and more people just don't understand, what the IDA exactly does when it comes to helping businesses, et cetera. So, but again, great work on what's been happening. I know there's some other great things. Rich and Mark are always keeping me in the loop and just really excited to see the growth we do have here in Chautauqua County.
Well, thank you. I see Jason is taking notes.
Yes.
Jason has been doing an excellent job at our marketing communications. So thank you. And we'll make sure that we include that in future communications. So no, good point. Thank you, PJ. Before I move to new business, I have to identify that we have an Iron Man in our midst. Millen Tyler completed the Iron Man.
Walking a little bit bow-legged and a little tired, but it was very good. Thank you.
Oh, great, Mel.
Great accomplishment. Thank you. All right, let's move to new business A, please. We have the Jamestown Print Company, DBA MW Graphics. This will be presented by Carol, please.
Okay,
Jamestown Print Company. Thank you, Mike. DBA MW Graphics is an LTEC loan. It was presented to the loan review committee on July 14th. They did recommend it to the board. The owner, who will be 100% owner of MW Graphics, is Barry Sharp. He owns a printing company right now since 2006 in Erie, PA. Very small. He's by himself. He's well associated with MW Graphics because they do his technical design work for him. And MW Graphics is at 909 North Main Street in Jamestown. And he's going forward to purchase the building, all the assets of the company, equipment. And he is also, we are partnering with Cattaraugus County Bank. His total project cost is $174,500. Cat County Bank will be doing a $75,000 10-year loan. He's asking the IDA for $60,000 and an LTEC loan, which includes a little bit of working capital and some of the building. The owners are, like him, very confident with him. He has a great relationship with them. So they're in for $20,000 for a 5-year loan. And he's putting in a great amount of equity in it, $19,500. The two owners right now are sisters. There are only two of them that work in the office right now, and he will be keeping them on. These two will still be separate entities. MW Graphics will not leave Chautauqua County. Obviously, he's buying the building and all the assets. He plans on bringing on one person at a later date to help with the design work. But MW Graphics has a great reputation. They don't go out and market very much. So there is a plan in here for marketing also. So we would be, of course, second position behind Cat County Bank on the real estate and on machinery and equipment, furniture and fixtures, all assets of the company, accounts receivable, any future equipment. And Barry Sharp has also agreed to give his personal guarantee and his life insurance assignment. So that'll be the collateral. It looks like a great loan. It fits well together. And, the company MW Graphics right now has longstanding. He went during the loan review committee, he went over the longstanding customers. And they're both profitable, I should say, and the cash flow looks good. He was very conservative. So I know you've seen the packet. Do you have any questions on that? Anyone?
I was fortunate, well, not fortunate to be part of the loan committee, but it's exciting that not only is he coming to Chautauqua County from Erie, but he's maintaining the presence within Chautauqua County and keeping the current owners of the business. So that was very nice to see.
Yeah, there is an apartment upstairs too that he plans to renovate for some extra income.
Yeah.
So it all looks good.
Good. Great
I
job.
can answer any questions.
Any questions for Carol? Millen, would you like to reference the resolution that we're going to be moving?
It's resolution 07-26-2201, authorizing the Altec loan, as Carol has described it. Fairly straightforward.
It's pretty straightforward. Okay. Gary, could you please move new business A1?
Resolution 07-26-22-01, authorizing LTEC revolving loan for Jamestown Print Company doing business as MW Graphics.
Thank you. I have a motion by Gary. Do I have a second? Second by Stephen. Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please. Mike Metzger votes aye. Stephen Thorpe.
Aye.
Kevin Muldowney.
Aye.
Rhonda Johnson.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Brad Walters.
Aye.
Let the record show 6 votes in the affirmative. Motion carried unanimously. Great job, Carol.
Thank you. Thank you, Ward.
Great project. All right, let's move to new business B. And this will be presented by, it's 3811 Holdings LLC, DBA Ghostfish Brewing Company East, presented by Christine, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We do have guests here today with 3811 Holdings, who I will introduce in just a moment. The resolution before you today is for 2 Altech loans. The first being a $65,902 Altech RLF loan for machinery and equipment. And the second, $100,000 for working capital. So together a total of $165,902. The resolution that's being presented is for a 7-year term at 4% interest with principal and interest payments made monthly for machinery and equipment, and a 5-year term at 4% interest with principal and interest payments made monthly for the working capital. The collateral that's being proposed is a co-equal pro rata second position lien shared by the 2 Altech loans behind the bank on all business assets. Life insurance in the amount of the loans on Richard Smith, Matt Swink, and Adam Gerga, you'll meet in a moment, and unlimited personal guarantees provided by Richard Smith, Matt Swink, and Adam Gerga. This is for a new project that would be located at the Great Discovery Center in Westville. That is at 8305 US 20 in the town of Westville. And it's for a 100% dedicated gluten-free craft brewery that would be owned by the applicant. I'd like to introduce now Richard Smith, Matt Swank, and Adam Gerga, all of 3811 Holdings, LLC, DBA Ghostfish Brewing Company East, and also Brian Thiel, who is the founder and general manager of Ghostfish Brewing Company of Seattle. We did receive a full presentation at the loan committee. You've received the application, the business plan, the minutes of the loan committee in your package, and they're just here today to provide a brief presentation to you about the project. So, gentlemen.
Christine, thank you. Board members, thank you for allowing us to be part of this meeting. Should I show something on the screen, or should I just discuss the package that we presented previously?
Mr. Chairman, what would you prefer?
That's up to you. You had a great presentation that you presented to loan committee. You may just want to take from that. And while you're bringing that up, you have to tell people how you got the name Ghostfish.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so basically, Ghostfish Brewing Company from Seattle, Washington has been in business for 7 years. And we are the largest dedicated gluten-free brewery in the United States. We're currently sold in 17 states and 4 Canadian provinces. Our second largest market is Massachusetts. So the objective of 3811 Holdings, DBA Ghostfish Brewing Company East, is to basically break the United States, the North American continent, geographically in half, and for the Seattle brewery to support the western side of the Mississippi River, the brewery in Westfield, New York, to support the eastern side of the Mississippi River. The name Ghostfish Brewing Company, let me see if I can bring this up here. The name Ghostfish Brewing Company came from a kind of a just happenstance. The brewery project was previously had a different name, but Ghostfish is a bioluminescent fish that lives only in a couple places on the earth. And we were fortunate, Brian and I were fortunate enough to see this fish swim along a seawall that we were standing by one evening, I think a summer evening, probably July or something, about 8 years ago now. And we immediately looked it up, on the internet, as anybody does these days. And sure enough, we were able to determine, kind of what this was that we saw. It came back 2 more times. It was sort of fishing along the wall. The tide had come in. And then for me, what I like to say to people at festivals and other various events is it's very easy to remember, Ghost Fish gluten-free. So we have a very rabid and loyal fan base of our beers. We've, like I said earlier, been in business for 7 years. The beers, if any of you on the board or others attending are beer drinkers, one of the things that I enjoy doing is putting a Ghost Fish beer in front of somebody and then a traditionally brewed beer in front of somebody, and they're virtually virtually taste the same. In other words, we are not extracting gluten from the beer. This is not gluten reduced beer. We're using unique grains that do not contain gluten to create the beer. So that's the product. And can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I appreciate, again, everybody allowing us to take some time here with you this morning. And let me see how I can work. I just want to show a couple of these slides that we showed from the beginning. So basically, you know, as Christine kind of went through some of and I know this is, she went through some of the loan information, and she has been wonderful with us, helping us throughout the process to get to this point. So thank you very much, Christine, for all of your assistance and guidance. So as I was mentioning earlier, this is a photo, if you can see here, 100% gluten-free, dedicated gluten-free, which means that there are no potentials for cross-contamination. People who have severe celiac disease, this is a very important piece because this is an interesting condition, and it affects people in multiple different ways, but nonetheless, some of it's mild, some of it's severe, but having products that are produced in facilities that there's no potential for cross-contamination is extremely important to this subset of the population. The other interesting thing here is that we've created these beers to be beers that can be enjoyed by everybody. So this is not, we don't lead necessarily with gluten-free for most of our audiences, but the beers are widely enjoyed by, you know, like I said, all craft beer enthusiasts. Why Chautauqua County for us? As I said earlier, Massachusetts is our second largest market currently. And as you can see on the screen here, we see that there are quite a few opportunities to launch the expansion in the east, most notably the cost of operating in Westfield. Matt Swank, who is on the call here as introduced, is a lifelong resident of Chautauqua County and specifically Westfield, Fredonia. So we have that connection as well. I'm currently in Colorado. Matt and Adam are in New York. Brian is in Seattle. And the name of the company, 3811 Holdings, we took that from the state, the number of the states when they entered the union. So 38 Colorado and 11 is New York. So that's how we came up with that idea. Essentially, we are ready to start. We've been working on this project for a while. We're in the final stages of putting the brewery together. And now we're in the process of hiring team members and start producing beer. Ghost Fish Brewing Company has been oversold for the last 18 to 24 months in some markets. So what that means is a distributor will order 100 cases and we sell them 70 cases because we have to ration the beer, so to speak. So we expect that this brewery will take up that slack as well as allow us to expand into additional markets. So satisfy the existing sales contracts that we already have, allow us to expand into additional markets and continue to satisfy the demand of the customers and the distributors that enjoy our products. So I think I was going to time myself for 5 minutes, but I didn't do it. I forgot to start the clock. So I don't know. I think I'm pretty much running over. Everybody told me, Richard, don't talk too much. Okay.
Yeah. Well, thank you. First, we greatly appreciate that one, Matt's here, and two, that you chose our county. Questions for Ghost Fish. Show some of your cans. They're quite elaborate in in design.
Wow.
Yeah, so they really pop off the shelf.
We have samples in the office downstairs. We just got them today. You guys want to take a look at them in person? They're really cool.
Can we taste?
look at
Yeah,
I've already called dibs on one or two of them.
okay, all right. Well, thank you. Questions for, yes, Gary?
Do they have plenty of infrastructure for like the waste? You know, didn't we run into something with Southern Tier or something?
That's a good question. We asked that at loan committee and they have a great answer. So please explain how you will dispose of the waste.
Yeah, thank you for that. And you're right.
Good question, Gary.
The GDC is on a septic system. So we have already, one of the things that we have done with the back part of the GDC, I don't know how many of you have been there, but we've already replaced the concrete floors, which, you know, brewing, cleanliness, water flow, floor slope is all really critical. So we put in new drains, and with those drains, we put in sumps so that we can pump the water to holding tanks. So basically and then of course, we will have the same process available to us if we have to evacuate any of the brewing vessels or the fermenting vessels during the process. So we are similar to the 5 and 20 down the street, right around the corner from us. Basically, we are putting in systems to allow us to put all of the waste and cleaning water or potential product that we have to, unfortunately, if we get to that point, have to throw away, essentially putting it into a holding tank, and then use the same service that the 5 and 20 uses for their waste disposal of their water. So yeah, we're basically going to pump the water out and put it into a tank and remove it from the premises that way.
Good question. Thank you. Any other questions for Ghost Fish? All right, Rhonda, would you? I'm sorry.
Mike, Mr. Chairman, Mark Geis here. Just real quick, I also wanted to mention that, the Great Discovery has had space there that has been unutilized for quite some time. And this operation will help make the Great Discovery Center more sustainable as well. So it's not only a benefit to the community, but it's a benefit to the Great Discovery and all that means to us as well. I just wanted to mention that because I think it's important.
No, thank you, Mark. Very important.
Yeah, I'd like to add on to that, Mark. I mean, in the craft beer space, the consumers like to get as close to the product as possible. And as you sort of asked in the beginning, why the name? Where did it come from? They like to know the story. And I think you're exactly right. I know there's a wine and beer trail, along Route 20. And I talked, obviously at length with Phil, the director of the Great Discovery Center. And obviously Matt knows him very well, being, local. But I agree with you completely. It is not our goal to put in a tap room at this location. However, we do see offering tours because, the consumer wants to see where the beer is made. But then the other thing is that we have 3 New York State liquor licenses that we're in the final stages of, and the GDC has a liquor license. So they can, and we've already talked with them about this. This was part of the initial discussion. They can sample our beers to the public, as visitors are coming into the Great Discovery Center. So I think they've already expected this and saw this vision, as you're recognizing that this will help drive traffic to their location, as we're cohabitating in this same facility.
Excellent. Very good points. Rhonda, would you please move new business B1 or B2, I'm sorry.
Okay.
B2.
Resolution 07-26-22-02, authorizing Altech revolving loan for 3811 Holdings LLC, doing business as Ghost Fish Brewing Company East.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Motion made by Rhonda, seconded by Gary. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please. Mike Metzger votes aye. Stephen Thorpe,
Aye.
Kevin Muldowney,
Aye.
Rhonda Johnson,
Aye.
Gary Henry,
Aye.
Brad Walters.
Aye.
Let the record show 6 votes in the affirmative. Motion carried unanimously. We wish you the best and can't wait to taste the Ghost Fish beer. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Christine. Great job.
Yes, thank you, Mike. And gentlemen, you're welcome to continue on, or if you need to exit, that's okay too. Thank you. Congratulations.
Christine,
you.
I have
Thank you.
one question. So you will follow up with us up today, this afternoon or tomorrow on the next steps, correct?
Yes, I'll be calling Matt after the meeting.
Okay, perfect. Well, we very much appreciate everybody's time and allowing us to present, and we're really excited for this whole opportunity, and we expect a big splash with the media as we get, to the point of brewing beer. And we hope that everybody gets a taste a little bit of what we sent from Seattle. So thank you again for your time, and we're really excited to be, part of the this county in a different way than we currently have been. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome to Chautauqua County.
Thank you, sir.
Take care.
Thank you. Kayla, what do you have in your cup?
It's not chilled yet, so I did let this grow.
Warm beer in the morning, that's an.
But it is right there.
Oh, yes. This refrigerator?
No.
Yeah, right.
We should have brought it up.
All right. Let's move to new business C. We have Seaboard's Solar, and this is going to be Rosie and Millen, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So before you today, we have Seaboard Solar LLC for Barnes Road East and Barnes Road West. We previously received a tax lease pilot application for a 9.35 megawatt AC solar farm split between Barnes Road East and West with 4.375 at East and 4.95 at West. Total project is going to be over 59.5 acres in the town of Stockton off Barnes Road. We previously spoke with the town supervisor, Dave Wilson, who expressed that the town is in favor, and they did approve a special use permit and did agree for us to move forward with processing a tax lease pilot application. We also reviewed their seeker documents, and we were able to determine that it's a type 1 action with a negative declaration. At our May 24th board meeting, the board approved due diligence resolutions and agreements. And that would be for a 25-year abatement on real property tax, sales tax abatement, and a mortgage recording tax abatement. Total project cost is $16,390,109. We had public hearing on July 6th, and I did provide transcripts to everyone here. No public comment in person or in writing was made. We do have Matt Longman here on the line. And Matt, can you briefly touch on your decommissioning plan and any visual mitigation for the site?
As I understand it, the decommissioning plan is finalized with the town. There's very little site mitigation on the southern portion of what is the two projects. There's about 100 feet, as I understand it, where the project would be visible from the road. And there, the town has asked us to put in a few layers, I think 3 layers of perennials, trees, that'll block that sight line. And that's the extent of any visual mitigation, as I understand it. And the decommissioning plan, which as I understand is finalized, was taken wholesale from the engineering firm that the town had used to review the project and what they expected the costs of decommissioning would be, and we used that wholesale. So that's about as much as I understand of it.
Thank you, Matt. Are there any questions for Matt for me?
No, fortunately, we've had very successful projects similar to this, and we thank you for coming to our county. Any questions from the board? If not, I'll ask Millen to move to the deviation hearing?
Sure, happy to. Let's do the deviation hearing for both projects. The deviation notice has been sent to each of the affected tax jurisdictions. In some, it provides for $3,500 per megawatt, which is what we've done for the last few solar projects that we've done, 25-year pilot, 2% annual increases. So is there anyone from any of the affected tax jurisdictions who would like to be heard on this topic? Hearing none, I'd like to close the deviation hearing. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Nolan. Much appreciated. If there aren't any other questions, we'll move to the resolution.
Okay, there's actually 4 resolutions. As Rosie mentioned, the town adopted lead agency status for seeker purpose. They named the agency, therefore we are bound by the seeker determination of the town, which found there was no significant adverse effect. So there are a total of 4 resolutions, a deviation resolution for each one, because we're going to deviate from the UTEP in the way that I just described for the hearing, and then the final approving resolution. The final resolution describes the project. It sets forth the amount of financial assistance that is estimated. And I think that we are ready to close as soon as, and if the board approves. So those are the 4 resolutions. You can do them all together or one by one if you choose, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Well, let's do them together.
Okay.
What I'll do is I'll read the 4 resolution. Well, let's see if Brad's voice. If you could please read the 4 resolutions, which are new business C3, there's 2 there, and new business D3.
Resolution 7/26/2203, deviation approval resolution, Barnes Road East. Resolution 7-26-2204, final approving resolution for Barnes Road East. And resolution 7/26/2205, deviation approval resolution, Barnes Road West. And resolution 7/26/06, final approving resolution, Barnes Road West.
Thank you, Brad. Do we have a second? Second by Rhonda. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll have a roll call vote on all 4 resolutions. Mike Metzger votes aye. Stephen Thorpe.
Aye.
Kevin Muldowney.
Aye.
Rhonda Johnson.
Aye.
Gary Henry.
Aye.
Brad Walters.
Aye.
Let the record show 6 votes in the affirmative. Motion carried unanimously. Great project. Thank you, Rosie. Great job on it. And thank you, Matt.
Matt, you're welcome to stay on, but if you need to exit, that's okay too.
Thanks. I'll leave you, but I just want to say thanks to the board for your attention to this, and also Rosemary, thank you in particular for helping me through the application process.
You're welcome.
Thank you and good luck to you.
Thank you all.
All right, let's move to new business E. Oh, we have the same. Get
used to it.
Please.
All right, today we have Solar Liberty Fredonia, which was previously received a tax lease pilot application last month for a 4.675 megawatt AC solar farm over 13.4 acres leased from AA Vineyards Land Holding. We spoke with the town supervisor, Dan Pecos, who expressed that the town is in favor of the project. They had their public hearing in November of 2021 and granted a special use permit. The town also did complete seeker, but did not list us as an involved agency. So we did have to complete our own, but that was a type 1 action with a negative declaration on their half. At our June board meeting, again, the board did approve a diligence resolution and agreement for a pilot tax lease application, a 25-year abatement on real property tax, sales tax abatement, and mortgage recording tax abatement. We did have public hearing on July 18th. A transcript has been provided, and there was no written comment or comment made in public. And we do have Adam and Nate Rizzo here with us today from Solar Liberty. Adam and Nate, could you touch on your decommissioning plan and any visual mitigations for the site?
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
Chairman and board. So from a decommissioning perspective, we have received town approval on the costs associated with decommissioning. We have not received a bond yet or submitted a bond for the decommissioning as of yet. We're still working through our due diligence to be able to construct the project. From a visual mitigation perspective, we did perform a visual assessment of the site. Based upon our findings, the system has limited viewpoints from Route 60 and the adjoining properties. So at this point, it's limited with vegetative screening. But I do believe that the town of Pomfret has left the ability open to review any screening a year after the system's been completed and let us know if any improvements to screening need to be made.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you. Well, we also have to thank you, Adam and Nathan, for being a frequent visitor here. For all the great projects that you're doing in Chautauqua County. We can't thank you enough.
Well, thank you.
It's our pleasure. Thank you.
Any questions for Rosie, Nathan, or Adam?
Adam and Nate, I would just like to talk about panels, delivery time, construction. What are you seeing in general in the marketplace? Are the panels catching up with demand now in the United States, or where do you see things headed?
Yes. Hi, Rich. So, the solar panels, as I believe I mentioned on the last call with the IDA, that there was a tariff, a pause on the tariff that were put in place. Well, there was a trade investigation going on potential tariff. So that has been paused, which has been very important for the solar industry. The solar panels are starting to, the capacity is starting to come back to the United States and allowing for projects to move forward now. The prices are starting to come back to where they were before that tariff issue arose. So we're starting to receive shipments. We expect we're hoping to break ground on this project still this year, and we were fortunate to have solar panels set aside for this project. So we were put in a position where we had to wait for them to come in. So, but the pricing and the capacity is starting to come back, which is a positive sign for the industry.
Thank you.
Good. Excellent. That's good to hear. Millen, please.
Sure. Deviation hearing. The deviation notices were sent to each of the affected tax jurisdictions on July 8th, advising them that we would have this hearing now. Same pilot as we've just talked about, $3,500 per megawatt for 25 years, 2% annual increases. So are there any members or any representatives from any affected tax jurisdictions that would like to be heard at this time? Hearing none, I'd like to, and we've received on this and the prior ones, no written comments from any of the affected tax jurisdictions. So I'd like to close the hearing.
Thank you, Millen. Would you like to discuss the resolutions?
Sure. In this one, there are 3 resolutions because as Rosie mentioned, the town adopted their own secret resolution, but at the time, we had not gotten an application from the applicant, so the IDA was not named as an involved agency. The town came to its own independent conclusion that there was no adverse effect on the environment, and that's what our resolution proposes today as well. So there are 3 resolutions. First, the deviation pursuant to the deviation that I just described. Again, $3,500 per megawatt, 25 years, 2% increase. That is a deviation from your UTEP, although it is becoming very common now and sort of standard for your solar projects. Seeker resolution. Again, your seeker resolution in your packet contains a fairly detailed analysis of all of the possible effects And we recommend that you come to the same conclusion that the town did, that there's no material adverse effect. And then the final resolution would approve staff and council to go ahead and draft and finalize documents and close, giving the financial assistance, which Rosie has previously described. So those are the three resolutions for this project.
Thank you, Millen. I'm going to ask Stephen if you only get
Sure.
three.
All right. Resolution 7/26/2207, deviation approval resolution, SL Fredonia, and resolution 7/26/2208, the secret resolution, SL Fredonia, and resolution 7/26/2209, final approval approving resolution, SL Fredonia.
Thank you, Stephen. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Brad. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please. Mike Metzger votes aye. Stephen Thorpe.
Aye.
Kevin Muldowney.
Aye.
Rhonda Johnson.
Aye.
Gary Henry.
Aye.
Brad Walters.
Aye.
Let the record show 6 votes in the affirmative. Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Adam, Nathan, and thank you, Rosie and Millen. Great job. Wish you all the best. And thanks again for Adam and Nathan for all you do for Chautauqua County.
And thank you, everyone, for your continued support. We couldn't say, we can't say thank you enough.
Yep,
And Rosie, thank you for all your help with our applications and documentation.
Happy to help. You're more than welcome to stay on, but if you have to exit, that's okay too.
Yeah.
We'll exit, but thank you again, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
See you soon.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. Yes, we do have.
Rosie and Millen show, I'm telling you.
I-
Good thing you survived that Ironman.
Lean on Rosie for that.
Please, new business F, the Lawson Boat and Motor.
Okay, so today we have Lawson Boat Motor, as Mike described. They are requesting a 15-year tourism destination pilot for sales tax and property tax abatement for a new project that they're working on. Lawson Boat and Motor purchased the old Fountain Bowl and is in the process right now of renovating it for a showroom and boat storage. The project cost is $940,000, which encompasses acquisition, construction, renovation, FFE, and any other fees. They are creating, during construction, 6 jobs. First year, 5 FTEs, second year, 6 FTEs, and in the third year, 7 FTEs. The storage portion of the building will be completed this September and the showroom in April of 2023. We did have transaction committee earlier this month. And we were able to determine that because no major renovations are being made outside other than siding, no secret is required. Does anyone have any questions in regards to the project?
It was a very favorable project presented to the transaction committee. Great job. It's good that they've taken over property that was, let's say, not up to standard. And so we appreciate them renovating existing property and facilities.
It was interesting to note, Mike, that the siding they have on the marina on Fluvanna will be the same siding,
Oh, the
blue and white. So it's going to look pretty spectacular on that corner. So.
Yeah, well, that's great.
Yeah,
Millen?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Real quick too, I just want to add, this is Mark. I just wanted to add, we helped Lawson obviously with the marina, and they've just done a great job there and expanded. And we also helped them with a parcel next door. There was an old building that was falling down, sort of, the gateway on Fluvanna there coming into the city, and working with the land bank, we were able to get that building down, and they own that, and they'll probably do something with that in the future. And then this is the next step. So, all the hard work that we've done, they've done obviously to build that. I think this is just a great outcome taking an old bowling alley that's been underutilized for many years and continuing to expand their operation. So it's a great story, I think.
Yes, definitely.
I think also worth noting, because the benefits that we're offering are less than 100,000, no public hearing was required.
Pardon?
No public hearing was required.
Thank you. Okay, Dylan, any?
Well, Rosie took all, most of my talking points, but I point out because this is a retail establishment, we need to fall into one or more of the exceptions, and this is a tourism destination. So the final resolution includes that. As Rosie mentioned, it's under $100,000, so no public hearing is required. And lastly, also, as Rosie also mentioned, it is a type 2 action under seeker. So no action need be taken, but it's referenced in your final resolution. So in this case, there is just one resolution that approves the up to $100,000 of financial assistance for both real property and sales tax. And it's not even a deviation because this is under your UTEP for tourism destinations. So it's a one-stop shopping, one quick resolution.
Great. Excellent. Kevin, can I ask you to move new business F1?
Resolution 07-26-22-10. Final approval of final approving resolution, Lawson Boat and Motor LLC.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Seconded by Rhonda. So motion made by Kevin, seconded by Rhonda. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please. Mike Metzger votes aye. Stephen Thorpe.
Aye.
Kevin Muldowney.
Aye.
Rhonda Johnson.
Aye.
Gary Henry.
Aye.
Brad Walters.
Aye.
Let the record show 6 votes in the affirmative. Motion carried unanimously. Let's move to, this is a fun one too. Yes, this was a great presentation. The person that gave the presentation had to go out and feed the chickens right after it was given. But again, new business G, Maze Stag LLC, DBA The Barn at Farrington Hollow. Rosie and Millen, please.
Thank you. So in June, the transaction committee approved moving forward with a due diligence agreement for a pilot tax lease application, a tourism application, I apologize, requesting a 15-year abatement on real property tax and sales tax. This project, Maystag LLC, they own 3 subsidiaries: the barn at Farrington Hollow, the cabins at Farrington Hollow, and then the Farrington Hollow farm and market. The barn, which we're reviewing today, provides an outdoor venue for weddings and other events. They're currently using a pop-up tent, one of those really nice white ones, to host their events. But they're in the process right now of constructing a 4,000 square foot barn and a 2,500 square feet pavilion to transition their events to that space so that they can then hold more events in the fall and in the winter. The project itself is located in the town of Cherry Creek at 7495 Farrington Hollow Road. And they completed our short environmental assessment form, and we were able to determine that no secret is required. Total project cost is $589,000. They're creating 5 FTEs in year 1, 8 in year 2, and 9 in year 3. I did have a public hearing on June 7th. No members of the public attended, and no written comment was received.
Thank you, Rosie. Yes. Millen?
Sure. There are actually 2 resolutions. There is a seeker resolution because it technically, because it's a 4,500 square foot barn, it takes it out of the type 2 where we need to do nothing into unlisted. So the seeker resolution that you has goes through the environmental impact, and staff has concluded and recommended to the board that you agree or conclude that there's no adverse economic impact from this. And then there's no deviation because this again is under, as Rosie says, your tourism UTEP, the same one we just did. And then there's a final approving resolution. So here there are 2 resolutions. The seeker resolution, it's a unlisted action. And the final approving resolution, approving the financial assistance set forth in the resolution.
Thank you. Any questions for Rosie or Miller? Yep, this is hands-on family. They are working all the properties and it's great to see. It's
Even have some of their guests who like to participate in feeding the goats, the chickens, and helping on the farm too. So it's really neat.
yes. I won't be participating. It was great to see. So,
For us city slickers, that's.
Yeah.
Feed your chickens for you.
Tyler family reunion. I hear you go.
Yeah.
Mucking out the barns, well, you know.
Gary, I'll ask you to move both resolutions, please, of G1.
Resolution 7/26/22/11, Secra resolution for Maystag LLC doing business as the Barn at Farrington Hollow LLC, and resolution 7/26/22/12, final approving resolution for Maystag LLC doing business as the Barn at Farrington Hollow LLC.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion made by Gary, seconded by Stephen. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please. Mike Metzger votes aye. Stephen Thorpe.
Aye.
Kevin Muldowney.
Aye.
Rhonda Johnson.
Aye.
Gary Henry.
Aye.
Brad Walters.
Aye.
Let the record show 6 votes in the affirmative. Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Rosie and Miller, and Christine and Carol for all your hard work and effort. Also, I'd like to state for the record that we go through things very quickly here, but everything brought before the board has already gone through a loan committee, a transaction committee. The week before, we have a call-in where people can talk about the resolutions or ask questions. Thanks to Jeanette and Rosie and Christine and Carol, we receive all the documents well in advance for us to review them. So all these projects have been gone through many times before they get to this board meeting. All right. Now, I know you're probably sitting on your deck with a cigar and or wait, not brandy. What does he?
Water.
Water.
Yeah. Fermented.
Mark, do you have an executive director's report?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Actually, I'm sitting at a picnic table next to the water and enjoying the day. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about a few things real quick. I'm sure you all heard about the news from Wells Ice Cream about them scaling back operations in 2023. We're on it. We don't know exactly what that means at this point. We're in the process of setting up a meeting with the Wells management, which would include not only the IDA, but the county executive, Empire State Development representatives, the mayor, etc. So we're in the process of getting that set up. If you didn't see the press release, they basically said that, and I quote, we're doing a comprehensive review of our manufacturing footprint and our need to support our overall business strategy. As a result, we are scaling back operations in Dunkirk in 2023 to 5 production lines, but are going to continue current operations in 2022. And they continue to say that they're working through communications with their employees about the specifics of what that means. I had asked the question, what is their reduction in lines? In other words, I don't know how many lines they currently have, and they're scaling, but we know they're scaling back to 5. So that would give us a better idea of what's going on, and then how many employees will be affected. And we don't know the answer to that either. But I'm hoping that in our meeting with them, we can get more specifics. They're sort of keeping it under their hat right now.
Mark, I understand they're running 20 lines now.
20.
That's what I'm told.
Yeah, Rich, do you know?
I
have
do
you
not,
heard
Mark. That
anything?
sounds about right, but I'm not sure. But I know that the reduction was going to be substantial and, you know, and just a little positive news early on when I was contacted by their attorney for it all hit the paper. They do plan to come back slowly but surely and make sure they're doing it right and the production lines are right when they do come back. So I think it's a good story. It's just, you know, they hit a little bump in the road here and hopefully they'll get over it.
Yep. So there's that. That's the bad news first, right? I guess the good news, the good news is that, and it was mentioned earlier, after working on this for 4 years, we finally have a local developer for the White Inn, and that's Steve St. George. And Steve, if you don't know him, he doesn't skimp when he does projects. He does everything right, and he's got a golden touch, and he's planning on doing a full restoration of the White Inn. I have to call out Nate Aldrich. He worked closely with Randy Turner to secure a $520,000 Empire State Development grant, and that really put it over the top. And at that point, once we heard it was awarded, Steve pulled the trigger on moving forward. But he's, talking about a full restoration, bringing it back to what it was once, and hasn't been for a long time. And at the same time, we're going for more funding. We're going to seek funding through the Restore New York program, which is a new program that's been on hiatus for quite a number of years. And we were in Cooperstown a couple of months ago, and we really pushed it with the administrator of that program. And so he's well aware that we're coming after money through the Restore New York program for that project. And also, we've hooked them up with National Grid and National Fuel, which both have some attractive incentives. OCR, we're working on a grant loan for them and potentially a CCIDA loan, but we'll see. But we expect it to be a spectacular project when completed. So that's really good news. Thank you to everyone that worked on that. And then lastly, I guess, we worked with the real property folks at the county to pull some properties from the auction that are in foreclosure. And those include, there's a parcel behind Maple Vale Farms that we got pulled, which will help them. There was a parcel in Silver Creek behind the Petrie building, which was very attractive to the new operation there, the Christmas store. So we got that pulled. There's a parcel that's down in South Ripley that we pulled from the auction for the Connect Gen project. There was 5 or 6, I can't remember, parcels in Celeron that is on their Main Street that we were able to pull for them to do a development project there. And then there was a parcel that behind the National Comedy Center that sort of, I think, fell through the cracks, but we were able to get that pulled too, which will be part of the Chattacoin Rivers redevelopment project down there behind National Comedy Center. So those are just some of the kind of high level things that are going on, and there's a lot more, but in a nutshell, those are the things that I wanted to talk about today. Is there any questions or comments?
No, thank you. Thank you, Mark. And we appreciate you taking time out of your well-deserved vacation, and wish you well. Enjoy your time. And but thank you for coming in. Much appreciated.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Now I'd like to move to the treasurer's report. Rich Dixon, please.
Okay. Jeanette, if you could put the presentation up for me, please.
We have, everybody has the copy. Is that okay, Rich, or would you like it on?
That's fine if everybody has.
Everybody has a copy.
Look at it here. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So as we talked about before, we were going to revise the budget and we'll get to that. I just want to point out some of the highlights here. On the balance sheet, which you have in front of you. We have lent our $10 million for the CARES Act. It's a fabulous job getting all the money out the door. And as you can see, we've already received about $1 million of that back. So, I mean, a lot of these were short-term working capital loans. And while the interest rate was 4% compared to 4%, the amortization is a lot quicker. So that money will come back. As you can see, we have $600,000 in the bank for that. So we have money to lend there. Our All-Tech Fund, which you all know has been defederalized, and we could use it as a loan fund. We can do a lot of other things with that. We have 1.6 million there. Kayla is working very closely with the Appalachian Region Commission. They would like to close the CRLF grant for our other loan fund. And that will just, they want us to change our documents there to get rid of a lot of the restrictions we had on lending, such as 50%. We could do more than 50%. There had to be equity and some other things. They want us to simplify that. The reporting will go away, but it will still be a loan fund. They're not defederalizing it. It will still be a loan fund, but they're going to make it a little easier on us on there. And then the other thing I'll point out here under deferred revenue, you can see we have almost $2.4 million in deferred revenue. And that's where I'll talk about that when I get to the budget. So that's it on the balance sheet. Revenue and expense. He's in a pretty good shape here. I project the IDA to catch up soon. We have a lot of projects closing, particularly, I believe there's 15 solar projects. And I would assume that once those start closing, they'll close.
You
in
like
rapid
that
succession.
fanfare at year end.
No, I don't. I do not like the fanfare around it, I'll tell you.
You don't like
Get it done now. I want to do it now.
You don't like to take vacation over the holidays.
So everybody's in good shape there. And then the last page, we'll talk about where we're making some changes. So on the revenue side, we're leaving our application and administrative fees right where it is. That could go up significantly. I don't believe it'll go down, depending upon when and if we close the Ripley project. That fee was rather large, so we'll see what happens when they close. They're moving along nicely there, though. The big change here is grant income other. Back in November, when we did this budget, approved it in October, actually, we weren't quite sure what grants we were getting. We weren't quite sure of the timing of the EDA money, because as the CARES Act money came to us for a loan, that's when we recognized it for revenue purposes. So, we were kind of shooting to see when it would all come. But now that we've done all that, we know exactly how much that's gone. So my grant income other goes up to $3,834,000. There's some county ARPA funds in there. Again, the EDA, we're recognizing 2.27 this year. We have some ARPA grants for business and marketing for $286,000 in the revenue. We have $350,000 of the Ralph Wilson grant that we will probably expend this year. We have a Mayville Water grant of $16,000. We have some CPEG trail money. Again, that was ARPA money from the county, $86,642. We have a special marketing and tourism grant for $200,000. $150,000 of that got deferred. $50,000 is in revenue this year. So we're tracking all the ARPA money. Kayla's working very close with Nate and Crystal to keep track of that. And those things seem to be going very smoothly. So we've changed those things on the revenue line. Just changed the interest income just a little. Other income may change just a little. Payroll, just slight increase in payroll. We have a bunch of interns for the summer. So, but I think we'll end up all right there. Conference trainings, as we're back on the road, that went up a little. Office supplies. I don't know if you've noticed, but downstairs and in Dunkirk, we're full. I mean, we got a lot of people sitting at the desks, pencils, paper, and whatever. Insurance will catch up. Travel, I bumped up a little. The Ralph Wilson projects, we had at 650, but for this year, we're probably only going to do 325. My industrial park expense, I left alone. Rent is the same. Grant expense is the big one. We're doing grants this year. And I will talk about the grants here. We had loans. I have my grant paper here somewhere. So for example, the big one for the grants expense this year is we do have, we had 50,000 through Ralph Wilson, went to the city of Dunkirk. We had 25,000 go to the Lakewood Community Development Corporation. SUNY Fredonia at 20,000. So that's $95,000 already out the door for Ralph Wilson. And then we did $286,000 with the business marketing assist grant funding already, which was through ARPA. That money has fully been expended. Kayla and Crystal and Nate have a really good tracking system. The grant recipients will need to provide documentation on their expenses. Otherwise, we're going to go after the money and recoup it. So I think that system got set up pretty nice. So those are the big changes in the budget, the grants. Utilities, I did bump the utilities up a little bit. They keep saying natural gas is going to come down. I don't see it when I'm looking at the ticker on CNN, but it's so we're going to do that. Bad debt. I reduced the bad debt, Mike. I mean, I'm at my 15% and we'll keep it there, but I don't, everybody's paying. I don't.
Well, we were very conservative because this was an area that we hadn't been in before and no one had been in before.
Right.
So I think you're correct in adjusting it, but we were, at the time, we were right in having the increasing the bad debt due to the uncertainty of these loans. But I have to tell you, you and Kayla have done a great job at getting these loans reimbursed. So that's a very good thing to be able to reduce that bad debt.
Yeah. And so I know Dave and the auditors pay particular attention to the bad debt account, don't they, Kayla? So they'll sit down with us again and go over the entire portfolio and how we do the percentages and what we do. So I think we're in good shape. I think we're going to have a great year. That's all I have, Mike, unless there's other questions. I would like an approval to amend the budget as presented.
Okay, I'm going to take two motions. One is to approve the revised budget presented. So if I could ask for a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Stephen. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Gary. Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Abstain. Thank you. Also, I would like a motion for the acceptance of the treasurer's report as presented. Rhonda, thank you for the motion. Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carried. Thank you, Rich. Great report and job well done. Excellent. Okay. Now, I would like to entertain a motion to ask for a vote of the IDA to go into executive session pursuant to section 105 of the Public Officers Law to discuss A, the financial credit and or employment history of a particular person or corporation, and the proposed acquisition or sale of real property, because publicity would substantially affect the value thereof. In particular, I would like to the IDA staff to discuss the various loan portfolios and the specific financial circumstances of a number of borrowers, and for staff to update the board regarding a possible sale of an IDA-owned piece of real estate. Do I have a motion?
Well said, by the way.
Thank you very much. And I have to tell you, this was scripted by Millen between the bike and the run.
That's why my time was off. I just.
Yeah, okay. Well, do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Stephen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? We are now